Let's be honest for a second. What's the most common lie? The one you've probably already said or heard today. It's that two-word phrase, "I'm fine." It's become a reflex, hasn't it? The password that stops anyone from asking further questions. The social contract that says, "Don't look too closely, and I won't either." But what happens when that mask you show the world starts weighing more than armor? What happens when, inside, the story is completely different? In this video, we're going to break that social agreement. We're going to talk about the 6 signs that you're not okay, and deep down, you know it, but you don't want to admit it. The first 5 are like cracks in a wall, warnings we ignore because we're too busy functioning. But the 6th sign, the one I'll reveal at the end of this video, is the most important and silent of all. It's the red light that most people overlook until their inner world is already on fire. So stay with me, because understanding that last sign isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to give you power. And it might be the most important thing you do for yourself today. If this kind of depth matters to you, subscribe to this channel. We explore the psychology behind what we feel but rarely say out loud. Let's begin. Sign number 1. Life loses its color. Its technical name is Anhedonia, and it's the subtle inability to feel pleasure. Think about this. That series you used to devour in a weekend. Now you can't get past the first episode. That gathering with friends you used to look forward to all week. Now it feels like an obligation you're already rehearsing excuses to escape. You're not lazy. You're not ungrateful. You're not becoming a bitter person. What's happening is a biochemical signal. Your brain has put the capacity to feel joy into energy-saving mode. It's not that the things you loved changed. It's that your brain's reward system has gone quiet. The dopamine pathways that once lit up when you heard your favorite song, tasted your favorite food, or saw a message from someone you care about, they're muted. Not gone, muted. Like someone turned the volume to 1. And here's what makes anhedonia so insidious. Because you're not sad in the dramatic, crying on the floor way that movies show depression, you convince yourself nothing is wrong. You just think you've outgrown things, that you're maturing, that you're simply more serious now. But the truth is, there's a void slowly eating the flavor out of everything you once loved. And you've been calling that void maturity because it's easier than admitting something is broken. The neuroscience behind this is clear. Anhedonia is one of the earliest and most reliable markers of depression. Not sadness, depression. There's a difference. Sadness has a cause and usually a timeline. Depression is the absence of feeling itself. It's the color draining from a painting while you insist the painting looks fine. If you're recognizing yourself right now, hit the like button. Not for me, so the algorithm shows this to someone else who needs to hear it. Sign number 2. Your inner critic has taken control and become a tyrant. A minimal mistake at work becomes definitive proof that you're a fraud. A neutral comment from someone replays in your head for hours while you search for a hidden negative meaning that probably doesn't exist. This inner voice that judges you without mercy is not motivation. It's not being realistic. It's not high standards. It's a direct, constant attack on your self-worth. And here's what most people don't realize about this voice. It doesn't sound like a stranger. It sounds like you. That's why you trust it. It uses your own vocabulary, your own logic, your own knowledge of your weaknesses. It knows exactly where to strike because it lives inside you. Psychologists call this cognitive distortion. Your brain is taking neutral events and filtering them through a lens that confirms the worst possible interpretation. Every silence from a friend means they're tired of you. Every compliment must be sarcasm. Every success was luck that will run out. The cruelest part is that this voice disguises itself as honesty. I'm just being realistic. I'm just preparing for the worst. I'm just making sure I don't get hurt. But realism doesn't make you feel worthless at 3 a.m. That's not preparation. That's self-destruction wearing a smart disguise. Do you notice how these 2 signs dance together? A world without color and a voice whispering that you don't deserve anything better. The anhedonia removes the joy. The inner critic explains why you don't deserve it back. Together, they create a prison that feels logical from the inside. Now, what happens when that internal storm starts to overflow? Your body begins to scream what your mind is working so hard to silence. Sign number 3. You're disappearing from your own life. Suddenly, canceling plans becomes your superpower. You avoid calls. Messages sit unread for days. Not because you hate your friends, but because the social energy simply ran out. You retreat to your cave, your room, your car, wherever feels safe from the exhausting performance of pretending to be fine. And here's the part nobody talks about. You don't just isolate from people, you isolate from yourself. You stop journaling because writing the truth feels too heavy. You stop exercising because the effort feels pointless when nothing brings pleasure anyway. You stop looking in the mirror because the person staring back feels like a stranger. This isn't introversion. Introverts recharge in solitude and return feeling refreshed. This is withdrawal. You retreat and return feeling worse. The isolation doesn't restore you, it marinates you in the very thoughts you're trying to escape. And the insidious trick is that isolation feels like self-care. I just need some space. I just need a quiet weekend. I'm just recharging. And sometimes that's true, but when the quiet weekend turns into a quiet month, when the space becomes a wall, when the recharging never actually recharges, something else is happening. The research is overwhelming on this point. Social isolation doesn't just accompany depression, it accelerates it. The less you connect, the louder the inner critic gets because there are no external voices to challenge it. The less you engage with the world, the more convincing the anhedonia becomes because nothing proves it wrong. Sign number 4. Sleep becomes a battlefield. This one almost always walks hand in hand with isolation. When night comes and you search for peace, your mind becomes a war zone with 1,000 thoughts crashing into each other. Insomnia. You lie in bed for hours. Your body is exhausted, but your brain refuses to power down. It replays conversations from 6 years ago. It invents worst-case scenarios for tomorrow. It turns every unresolved tension into a feature film that plays on repeat behind your closed eyes. Or the opposite, hypersomnia. You crash into a heavy sleep of 10, 12, 14 hours and wake up feeling like you were hit by a truck. The sleep isn't restorative, it's an escape hatch. Your brain uses unconsciousness as a refuge from the waking pain. Here's what most people don't know about this. Sleep disturbance isn't a symptom of the problem. It's a mechanism that makes every other symptom worse. Poor sleep disrupts serotonin production. Disrupted serotonin deepens the anhedonia. Deeper anhedonia feeds the inner critic. The inner critic drives the isolation. The isolation worsens the sleep. It's a cycle. And the cruelest thing about cycles is that from inside them, you can't see where they start or how to break them. You just know you're tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. Subscribe right now, because sign number 6 is the one that changes everything. But first, sign 5. Sign number 5. You stop living and start surviving. Your only goal is to make it to Friday. Your life feels like a to-do list without purpose, without joy. You're on autopilot. You wake up, brush your teeth, go to work, come home, eat something, stare at a screen, sleep, repeat. Not because you chose this life, because you can't remember choosing anything at all. Decisions feel impossible. Preferences feel irrelevant. The future feels like a concept that belongs to other people. You're not depressed in the way the world imagines depression. You're functioning. You show up. You complete tasks. You answer when spoken to. You might even laugh at the right moments. But inside, the machinery is running on fumes. You're not living. You're performing living. And the performance is getting harder every day. This is what psychologists call functional depression, the most dangerous kind. Because nobody intervenes. Nobody worries. Nobody reaches out. You look fine from the outside. You hit your deadlines. You make your bed. You smile at the barista. But the person doing all of that is hollow, going through motions that used to have meaning and now feel like an elaborate act that you're doing for reasons you can no longer remember. If you feel this way, disconnected from your own life, I want you to know something. You're not weak. You're not dramatic. You're not making this up. What you're experiencing is real. It's documented. It's understood by science. And most importantly, it's treatable. But only if you stop pretending it's not happening. And now, the sixth sign. This is the one I asked you to stay for. And I need you to hear this with your full attention. Sign number 6. When the pain becomes so big that your mind starts looking for an emergency exit. And that exit starts to look like ending everything. It doesn't have to be a detailed plan. It can be a fleeting thought. It would be easier if I wasn't here. A deep wish for the pain to simply stop. A fantasy about disappearing. Not dying necessarily, just ceasing to exist. The difference feels important to the person experiencing it, even if the mechanism is the same. Listen very carefully. This is not drama. This is not attention-seeking. This is not a character flaw or a failure of willpower. This is your brain in its most primitive function, screaming that it has reached a level of suffering it no longer considers bearable. It's an alarm system, not a verdict. It's your psyche saying, "I need help," in the loudest language it has. If you've ever had this thought, no matter how brief, no matter how quickly you dismissed it, it is the maximum alert signal. And it tells you one thing: you need help. Not eventually, not when things get worse, not when you finally deserve it. Now. Admitting it to yourself is the first act of power. The second, the bravest of all, is asking for it. Talking saves lives. If you're in crisis right now, please reach out. In the US, call or text 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. In the UK, call 116-123 for Samaritans. In many countries, crisis text lines are available 24/7. A quick search for Crisis Helpline plus your country will connect you with someone who understands. These resources exist because you matter. Using them is an act of strength, not weakness. The bravest people aren't the ones who never struggle. They're the ones who ask for help when the struggle becomes too heavy to carry alone. I want to close with something that I hope stays with you. The fact that you watched this video to the end tells me something. It tells me you're still looking, still searching, still hoping that something can change. That hope, however small it feels right now, however buried it is under exhaustion and numbness and the weight of pretending, that hope is the proof that the fire hasn't gone out. It's dim. Maybe it's just an ember. But embers can be brought back to life. Not by pretending they're a bonfire, but by giving them what they need. Air, space, and the willingness to stop saying "I'm fine" when you're not. You don't have to fix everything today. You just have to stop lying to yourself about where you are. That's the first step, and it's the hardest one. Everything after that gets a little easier. If this video made you feel seen, subscribe and hit the like button. Share it with someone who says "I'm fine" too often and too quickly. And if you need to talk, the comments are a safe space. You're not alone in this. See you in the next one. Take care of yourself, because you matter.